And I didn't want to stop that interreaction, and we just kept things chatting across the board. And I've been doing that all the way through, and keeping in contact with people. And it wasn't a sales thing; it was purely to stay in touch with everyone. And I done it for my sanity as well as theirs, I hope.
Welcome to PushOn. This is an interview series where we talk to local business owners sharing stories of resilience. I think this is really important to talk to people in our business community who I believe are leaders. Everyone is a leader because we're all working very hard to keep the economy moving forward. And here with me today is Gary Riches. He's a franchisee and owner of Driver Hire Colchester. So welcome, Gary.
Hello, thank you.
And how are you today, Gary?
I'm very well, thank you. Very upbeat as normal.
You're always incredibly positive.
I am.
I've gotten a chance to get to know Gary over the last few weeks because of the pandemic. We didn't meet before. And his burst of positivity and his work ethic has been tremendous. And it's been a fabulous positive influence on me and my work as well. So I'm grateful for that and that we met.
Thank you.
Gary, tell me a little bit about your business.
Right. Driver Hire is a franchise. The franchise itself has been going nearly 35 years. Driver Hire Colchester started about 25 years ago. And I bought it as a resale 7.5 years ago from Phil Mannery, who was the guy who had it 12 years. So it's been pretty well established here. It wasn't doing particularly well when I took over, but we specialise in supplying mainly temporary drivers and warehouse and forklift drivers and HGV drivers in the marketplace. We do temporary staff and permanent staff and holiday cover and things like that. That's our main goal and target, and it's all from my background is transport, always has been, and that's what I focused on. But I've never been in recruitment before I joined Driver Hire. That was the strangest thing when I came into it.
It seems like a natural for you though, because you're very, very good with people. So
yeah, my background has always been transport, and I've been a transport manager and I've been a driver. So as long as I understood what the driver wanted and understood what the client wanted, it was just trying to match the two together. And I found that the easiest way to work together. And as long as I followed the franchise system of the paperwork side, it worked. And that's all I had to work on. And it worked really well because it's the compliance side is really the recruitment bit. The rest of it is, you're right, it's the natural side to work on. If you understand what the client wants and what the drivers want, and you try and put the two together. And it works majority of the time, but you can't always get it right.
I think it's hard for everybody to always get everything right. So in terms of where you operate, do you only operate locally or do you work wider?
No, we're I own the CO postcode area, so there's 103 offices within the Driver Hire network. The CO postcode is a very small postcode area, but nationally we actually outperform. If we did a chimney pot account would be the way to describe it, we perform very well nationally, where we sit in the top 20 normally in the league tables, but since the pandemic, we're sitting much higher than that. We're doing very well locally as well.
So that leads into, how has the pandemic impacted your business and the way that you're operating?
Though I said we're doing very well nationally, we're doing very poorly compared to normal. It has had a massive impact on the business. We've had a real roller coaster ride. When it first kicked off, we got really, really busy, where everyone came to us for a lot of help, and we had a real strong support from drivers coming up and stepping up to the mark and going out and working very trying times. And I couldn't be more thankful for them and the team for standing up to the challenge. And the shift count went through the roof. So that was very good. And then it was like someone turned a tap off and everything stopped. So these is what I can describe how much it changed. We would normally have 60 to 70 people out working a day. We call it a shift. And it went from 60 to 70 a day to that a week. That's how much it changed. So it really did totally die from that point of view.
I know the council has been very good supporting businesses. And have you been able to access any of the support provided through Colchester Borough Council?
Yes, the grant for the rates, we got the email from them very quickly. As soon as we returned it, the money was in the bank very, very quickly. The 10,000 for it was in there, very supportive. They're very good on social media, communicating as well. I'm involved with the business in Mid Suffolk, and it's completely different. They have very poor communication and dealing with things, where Colchester's been very good in comparison.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. That's really good to hear. And have you managed to access any other forms of support through the government?
Yeah, I did try the civil loans. We had a brilliant year last year, so we weren't financially strapped, but I was very worried. Cash flow was the biggest concern, I think, of most business owners. And I battened down the hatches, stopped spending money like there's no tomorrow, like we normally do, and so on. So we stopped spending, and my concern is what's going to happen in the future with potentially firms going bust and so on. So I wanted what was this called the civils loan, where you went to the bank. The bank was so unhelpful. They couldn't drag their feet any slower if they tried. But as soon as the bounce back loan came, the bank was straight in touch with me. Then they couldn't be more helpful. And it was in my bank account in 3 days. And I took it straight away, and I've got it sitting there. What I do with it, I don't know. I've got it there for a rainy day.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how would you say, what are the biggest changes that the pandemic has had on your business right now, in terms of how you're operating, or perhaps even how you're thinking about the business?
We changed things quite drastically in the office. There's normally 5 of us work in the office. I'll take Tracy as my business partner, who does the accounts and the payroll. We moved her out really early on, before we had the lockdown. And we picked her computer and everything up and moved her away and back home. So that worked really quickly. It's very hard to work operationally with just one person in the office when you're busy. When it's quiet, it's a different matter. So when we were really busy at the beginning, we still had to come into the office. And as it got quieter, we then had to distribute how we worked. I've made two of my staff are furloughed and sitting at home, unfortunately. I've got Shani, who lives locally, but she has been coming in the mornings when it was quieter, just to do paperwork, stay on top of things. She lives by herself, and I kept her on. It wasn't necessarily the best financial decision to make, but it was better for her for mentally being by herself, because she had contact with all the drivers, and it also helped me. I had someone to talk to about the business, and it helped me stay positive and focused, because it is hard staying focused in all these weeks, and need someone to bounce off, and I had that to work with as well. So she was coming in at the beginning. I was working at home. I've got a caravan on my driveway, and going back to the council, I do supply drivers and loaders into the Borough Council, and I went in for a couple of days to do health checks, and because I'd already had 2 weeks away from other people, so I knew I don't know the best way to describe it, say clean, and I had no signs of it, but I thought I'd better stay safe, and I went and lived in my caravan for a week, away from the rest of my family, because there was a lot of people about at the time when we had a little bit of increase in numbers in there. So we've done that. But recently, 2 weeks ago, I've come back in my office. Shani sits in one room, I'm sitting in Tracy's office, so we are a million miles apart for safety wise, but we have the doors open when we communicate, because the phones are much busier now. Business has picked up, which is a good sign for everyone, because transport is the first sign of things improving, because people's goods are being delivered out there and things are improving all the time. So it's much better from that point of view. And we work during the day. We get in about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and we work through till it goes quiet. And it has been 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but it's now 4 or 5 o'clock again. It's like a full day because it has got busier.
Mm. That's good. It's always good speaking to you and hearing week by week the changes.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the number of clients using us has gone up every week, and that just means more people are coming back into the workplace and needing help.
Brilliant. And what things are you doing to help you remain, a little bit more grounded and positive during these times? Because obviously there's a lot of things that are completely out of our control. But one thing I've learned from you is that you're pretty clear on the things that you can control. Can you share a little bit about that, please?
I'm very regimented how I do. I joined the army when I was 16, and when I got up, even though we had no work to do in the mornings when it was really quiet, I would still be up, dressed, drive a hire t-shirt on. I set up my office in my caravan, and I'd be in that office from 7:30 in the morning, even if it was just log into the bank account, check what money's come in or not come in, things like that. Do about an hour's worth of admin work. And I would stay that focused and just go through things. I would speak to Shani, what was happening, everyone who we had working, they turned up, what our plan for the day was, who we'd contact, if little work or not. But I also upped my exercise regime. So as soon as I got bored, I'd either go for a bike ride, Peloton. I did purchase a Peloton in December, much to my wife's annoyance, but it's the best thing I've purchased because the lockdown have been able to use that. And I've done loads of walks with the dogs. So I've stayed very focused on doing things like that. That was personal side. Business side, I picked up the phone to at least 2 driver stroke candidates every day and clients every day. I didn't necessarily do it for their sanity. I done it for my own. Because I want to speak to people. As you can tell, I like talking a lot.
I have noticed that, Gary, yes.
And I didn't want to stop that interreaction. So I would say a regular driver would be into a client. I would speak to that driver first, see how they were, have a half-hour chat. Then I would speak to the client and say, I've just spoken to Peter. Peter's fine. How are you? And we would have something to talk about. And we just kept things chatting across the board. And I've been doing that all the way through and keeping in contact with people. And it wasn't a sales thing. It was purely to stay in touch with everyone. And I've done it for my sanity as well as theirs, I hope.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing that I have to highlight, because I do marketing, is you've continued with your marketing.
Oh yes, sorry, Kim. I joined the marketing plan straight away from. I joined the business group, the Colchester business group, from day one. The Facebook page appeared. I joined onto it, and then you done the big 3, and I thought, what on earth is this about? And I've learned so much. It's made me think totally different, and I've done so many different things of pushing marketing out I've never dreamt of doing before. Google reviews. I've never even looked at my Google reviews ever in 7.5 years. Never dreamt about it. Why? Don't ask me. I've no idea why not.
Yes, but not just that, but your social media as well. I know you've got really great support there from Square Star Digital, and they've been a valuable resource for you, haven't they? And
I mean, I've always been on the media, and I work with Chris Bullman there a lot, and we do chat, and we bounce ideas off each other and how to get things across, what's right, what's wrong, and things like that. So it's always, we try and push the information out. I don't like doing personal videos, and I've been doing them at least one every other week, just to keep people informed. And I've realised people do like them. I don't know why. I don't want to know what they listen to me for, but I do seem to have views, and I do get comments from them and personal messages, which does mean a lot to me.
And I think right now those personal messages are really valued because it's a ray of positivity, and people like to connect with people, and we like to keep in touch with what's going on. So I commend you for doing that, because I think people enjoy it. it's a bit of normality seeing people. So that's always good. But tell me, what's something that you've done this week that you've really loved doing?
I've got two things. Last night, I had a Zoom meeting. Zoom has been a godsend as far as I'm concerned. And I've got a good group of friends I go to football with, and we have fortnightly meetings. And last night was our fortnightly meeting, and it was just the laughter we had last night. And you can't beat laughing. So that's one thing, is laughter with your friends, even if it is over a Zoom meeting and a cold beer on a Wednesday night and a little quiz. Please do it. It's great. And it reminds you can have a normal life, even if it is on a video screen. So that was good. And another one, we sent a driver who hasn't worked for 4 weeks out, and he lives just round the corner. Well, round the corner, 20 yards away, and he came back yesterday, and the smile on his face, because he'd been to work, was immense. And I've never seen anyone smile, and that brought a huge smile to my face, because he had normality. So they're the two things. So laughter for me, and a smile on someone else's face.
Brilliant. And what's something that has gone really well for you, perhaps this week, something work related?
A constant increase in business. We've had new clients, returning clients when they hadn't worked for us for over a year. They've come to us, and the clients who work with us, they just talk to us so openly, and I find it refreshing. And I enjoy that part, because I've always been open and how I work. And I just enjoy it all the time, speaking to the clients. It isn't just can I have, it's what they would like and how we deal with it, and adapting and listening to what the requirements are, because some people are very worried. Can we send someone in, and can you park in a certain area? Can the driver just sit in the vehicle while we load it up? And we just have to adapt to their requirements, and then we speak to the driver. Right, this is what the client wants, and you sit there. And then we've got drivers who are worried on how they deal with the marketplace, because some people will happily sit in the vehicle and don't want to get out, and there's others who really want to get stuck in and do it. I'll take the Colchester Borough Council bin loaders and so on. That's a really hard job at the moment. They're going 3 people in the vehicle for the last 2 weeks, and they're in no way are they 2 meters socially distancing, because they can't. It's impossible to. And they've all got on with it very well. And so we can't thank them enough for carrying on and keeping the service running for us.
Yeah, there's certainly challenges, all sorts of challenges around us. Is there a story, perhaps, something that you could share of something that was a challenge, but yet a challenge that had a silver lining?
Oh, a silver lining. I don't know the answer to that one.
Okay, that's okay. I always look for a silver lining. So sometimes there's something happens that you just don't know how you're going to overcome it, and it turns out to be to have a silver lining. You're probably just so darn positive, Gary, that
because I don't look at anything as a failure. We just how we adapt and overcome it, sort of thing. And I don't see it from that point of view. I just sort of take it as a normal part of it. And it's my positivity. I think you are right.
yeah.
And it's a struggle for some people to deal with it, because I am so positive.
And so this next question, you might not have an answer to this one either, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Have you ever thought of giving up?
No, never.
Never. So help us understand what keeps you going every day so positive that you never have those thoughts of just giving up. Because I know with some of the conversations that I'm having with a number of people, there's a lot of people feeling that way, where they just keep working and working, and it's hard.
I mean, did I make any money in May? No, I didn't. I've lost money. There's no getting away from it. Is just from a quick management accounts point of view. So if you keep working on it, it's not going to work, but you can't think it's got to be like that for the short term. You've got to look for the middle term. So I'm just planning. I've just changed all my budgeting, one for better wording. I'm not one for sitting here for hours of spreadsheets. It's not my way, but you've got to have goals and targets. Being a member of a franchise, we have league tables, and seeing them league tables come out and seeing your name up the top there really motivates me. Colchester has never been number one. In this pandemic, we have reached number one in that period of time. First time in 25 years we've been there. So that's really been a positive for us. We'll be in the top 5 this week, and we're waiting for them to come out shortly. I'm hoping we're number 2. But that's what focused me. Still, are we making money? We might break even this week, but it means we're moving in the right direction. And I keep looking at different ideas. How can we do things? One of the things, if we had a man in a van sitting here, it's not to go out and do the multi-drop deliveries. That's not the type of work I want. It's to support the clients at the moment. So we're speaking to the clients about that. Is it something we can support with? I don't know if it's a viable thing to do, but we're speaking to them. So I just look at different things all the time. I'm a 100 miles an hour person, and I have to slow myself down, and Tracy, my business partner, constantly slows me down and brings me back to reality. I haven't told her about the man in the van. When she watches this, she'll go, no.
Well, I think that's really good to highlight that, yes, you are 100 miles an hour, but you talk to people first. And that's something that I've just loved listening to, because so many people forget to talk to people, but they're actually, the whole point of talking is you're listening. You're actually listening to what they need in this changing market.
If we go back to working with yourself, the 3 accountable marketing ideas I come up with, I'm a very visual person. We've got them written down on the whiteboard. They're sitting in the main office. And no, I'm working with Shania on them, and I might be doing 70% of them, and she might do 30, but they're sitting in front of her as well. So I go back and highlight we've done something. So you can see where we are, and it gets you focused on something. So working on visual, just thinking, oh, I must do that, will not I'll just forget about it. So whiteboards work for me personally, because I've got to get visual. I must keep working and doing something. And I know it's not going to be like this forever. We might hit a recession period, but we will come out of it. There's no getting away from it. Things will get better. How quickly, we don't know. You've just got to keep thinking it will get better, and we've got to turn the corner somewhere.
Absolutely.
When that will be, we don't know. But it's slowly coming right for me. So if it's coming right for me, I mean, the transport sector, it's got to come right for other people. And it isn't far away from everyone. I'm hoping when the retail open, we'll see other people see the benefit of it. When the pubs and restaurants open, we'll see more sectors feel the benefit of it. And unfortunately, some people will struggle doing it with the social distancing, and business won't be able to trade at full capacity. But people will adapt.
We have to adapt.
We'll have to. And some might not make it doing it. But you've got to look and think differently. And I don't know the answer to everything. And I don't envy people who have got businesses where they've got to look after the general public. I do. It is harder. But I look after my drivers in different ways, but I don't see them as much. So I must really think slightly different.
So what message would you like to share with other business owners at this time? What's that one thing that you think could help people?
It will get better. Stay positive. It will come good. It won't be 6 months we're back to where we were, but it will come better, a lot better. We will be back in some format. I think we've learned how to work better as well. I think you can become more efficient. I've learned how to work efficiently in some ways as well. So that can be a benefit, but please stay positive, start planning small steps to improve things for when you do reopen, if you haven't, or if you've reopened, what can you do for the next 2 weeks? Don't look 6 months ahead, think 2 to 3 weeks ahead. And that's all I'm doing, and how we can find little chunks of business and bring it back on.
That's brilliant, Gary. Thank you. And there was a silver lining in that. Out of all these challenges, the silver lining for you is that you found ways to work better and be more efficient.
It's very true. Yeah. I've got to say, I wouldn't have done, I mean, I'd always stay positive and everything else, but it's my family and my work team. I wouldn't have done it without them. I do stay positive, but you do have your ups and downs. You don't necessarily always see it yourself. So they have the ones who have supported me through it all.
Yeah, it's important to say thanks, isn't it?
Very, very much so. The video I done that went out yesterday, I didn't agree with what my family wanted to put across on it, and I did listen to them, and I had some really nice personal messages sent to me, not on Facebook, but personal messages sent to me, and I thought they were really right, what the message they said should go across. And because I'm too positive sometimes for the wrong message coming across, but they got it right. So it's nice to listen to other people, because other people can be right as well.
They certainly can. One of the things that you've said, I'm just going to make a note of before we close, is that you mentioned how, as a franchisee, you have league tables. Now, this is something that many businesses don't have, and what I've been noticing in my personal life is when I set myself challenges, personal challenges, that's what keeps me going. So maybe we can put our heads together and come up with a way of setting up challenges for businesses locally. The more challenges you give yourself, the more push you've got to keep going every day. Yeah. Something to aim for.
I agree totally. I mean, I've taken a lot of challenges for personal. I had a family near. I said, can we do walk a marathon a week? And just to walk 26 to 30 miles a week over and above your steps. Once you find the time to do that, that takes some doing for 4 weeks. And I really enjoyed doing it, to the point I've carried on doing it.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
From that point of view.
Super. Well,
little challenges all help.
They do. They absolutely do. Even things like this, setting a challenge to speak live.
Yes, I wasn't looking forward to it. I've actually quite enjoyed it at the end.
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed speaking to you, Gary. It's always a pleasure. It's always a ray of sunshine after our conversations. But on that note, I'd like to draw our interview to a close, and thank you so much for your willingness to be interviewed. We have a lineup of people that will be interviewed. There is now a page on the KG Moore website where I'm starting to list all of these, as well as the recordings from the previous interviews. So, Gary, anyone who's missed your interview right now will be able to see it. And there's a really good mix of speakers coming up. So from small home-based businesses facing their challenges to large organizations trading globally. Now I have somebody in the education sector. We're just agreeing dates now. So we're looking at different industry sectors as well. So we can all really get a good grasp of the challenges that business owners face today and how they keep pushing on to overcome them. But thank you very much, Gary. And thank you everyone for listening in. We'll see you next week for another episode of Push On, Thursdays at 12 p.m.
Thank you, Kim.
Bye.